Presenter is Diya Kamalabharathy from Poolesville High School in the US.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Diya Kamalabharathy. I am a junior at Poolesville High School, and today I will be talking about an app I made called AstraC. Can everyone see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. So does anyone know the number one cause of absenteeism in the U.S., in schools in the U.S.? Well, some people might say it's the flu or the common cold, but it's actually asthma. So, as we all know, asthma is a common respiratory illness. It occurs in every 1 in 12 people here in the US, and it affects the bronchial tubes in the lungs, which connect the trachea or the windpipe to the alveoli or the air sacs in the lungs, which allow for the exchange of oxygen from the lungs to the blood. So in a normal bronchial tube, the relaxed smooth muscles in the bronchi are very relaxed, which allow the air to pass through from the trachea to the alveoli. However, in asthmatics, the bronchial tube becomes inflamed due to some sort of stimulus. So the cells from the immune system, such as phagocytes and chemicals like cytokines, activate and allow for the inflammation of the bronchi, and that causes the bronchi to swell. So doesn't the swelling inhibits air from passing to the alveoli, which is what causes asthma attacks. This is People with asthma attacks tend to experience trouble breathing, chest tightness, and wheezing, and the effects of this can lead to permanent lung damage. So current treatments. As of right now, um, the current treatments focus on delivering medications to the lungs in two different ways: inhalers and oral medications. Inhalers, for example, this is a picture of an inhaler right here. It delivers medications directly to the lungs, and oral medications are ingested in order to affect the lungs. And these medications can be stuff like beclomethasone or cyclazonide, which are steroid medications and glucocorticoids that mimic the steroid hormone cortisol, which can inhibit these immune cells from working to and reduce inflammation. So these kinds of treatments are on a cellular level, and they aim to target and treat asthma when a person is having asthma attacks. Now, what I noticed was that since all of these are treating them during the asthma attacks, I was wondering, what can we do to prevent the asthma attack from occurring in the first place? And I discovered that there are certain lifestyle factors and external factors that can be mitigated or completely prohibited to stop asthma attacks from occurring. And this is what I call risk factor mitigation. Now, my research aimed to focus on how can we turn these risk factor mitigations into a user-friendly tool for asthmatics to use in their day-to-day life. So hence, I present to you AstraC. AstraC is a app I created that focuses on three internal factors and three external factors. The three internal factors being diet, exercise, and breathing. So first I have diet. So the reason I talked about diet right now is because the National Institute of Health has found there to be an inverse association with vegetable and fruit intake and the asthma weeds. And their explanation for this is the anti-inflammatory effect of certain food groups. For example, vegetables and fruits reduce the cytokines, which are the chemicals in the immune system that activate an inflammatory response, and other kinds of cells such as neutrophils, which is a type of phagocyte. So these certain food groups can reduce the inflammation in the airway. That's why AstraC monitors what food you eat and classifies that into particular food groups, as shown in this video right here. So when the diet button is toggled, you can see that there is, once you enter your food into the database, it'll pull up the types of food groups there are, like proteins, carbs, and fats, and how much of each you've eaten. So this can be helpful. And then after examining this, abstract will suggest what types of food groups you should eat later on in the day to balance out your diet to prevent the asthma attack from occurring. Okay, so next we have exercise. So exercise is actually really important for asthmatic patients because it can increase lung capacity and blood flow, which is important because blood carries oxygen to the rest of your body. However, some challenges that may occur for asthmatics is that, for example, exercise-induced bronchoplasm, which is the straining of respiratory muscles, which we don't want to trigger too much because it can lead to asthma attacks. Hence, abstract would have to have some sort of way of getting a doctor consultation. Hence, as can be seen here when we go to the exercise page, we have the screen where you see your goals, your exercise goals for today, and there's also a timer on that page which can time your exercising and everything, as you can see right there. All right, and then when you click on the Add More button, you can see that you can type in the name of your exercise, the increments, and it also has your doctor approval code, which your doctor would have to sign off in order to add that exercise to your list. All right, then you can see it right there. Okay, so next we have breathing. This is our last internal factor, and breathing exercises can help strengthen your respiratory muscles that can prevent asthma attacks. So I sectioned off the breathing section as breathing exercises, a place for breathing exercises, and a place for medication schedule. And the reason I added medication schedules to this is because medication this app focuses on the convenience of user convenience. So in day-to-day life, is if someone with asthma or like a small child forgets to take their medication, that can be detrimental to their health. So ASTRAC will also monitor, not only will it track your oxygen levels and BPM, but it will recommend what kind of breathing exercises that you can do. For example, here it says you would want a diaphragmatic breathing. It can also monitor your inhaler usage and stuff like that. All right. And finally, ASTRAC's external features. Now, the external features also focus on 3 different types of factors. So, like I said, when the person's inflammatory response and asthmatic's inflammatory response can be triggered by certain stimuli, and this could be an external factor, something that a person can't control. So, this could be weather, pollen content, or air pollution. So since ASTRAC can't exactly monitor, it can't control an individual's external factors, it will give the individual alerts instead. So as you can see here, when the Get Weather Alerts button is toggled, it'll display your the alerts. So right now I'm in Clarksburg, so that's why it says that this is the current temperature, and it gives suggestions on what to do. And this is live alerts from an API which I used. All right, so far this is my prototype for ASTRAC. So what's next for me? My next steps would be to create a database of recommendations for the diet section, because right now I have programming to control when a user inputs the food into the app, what the calorie content of each or the food groups of each, but I don't have a database of recommendations for that specific food group. For example, if a user eats something high in fats, I would need a database to say what would be the best way to control that. And then another thing could be logging medicine intake. So like the inhaler section of my of my app, I would have to create a log for that. And finally, I would want to create I want this to be accessible to users with asthma. So I would want to create an accessibility in iOS platform, because I used an Android to program this, and I would want to make it a free app. All right, these are my references. Thank you. Does anyone